Now, me personally, if my name were hypothetically Jin Itadori, or maybe even Gojo Satoru, this would have made me resurrect. What's up, guys? All Puncher, and here we are to do a breakdown and review to chapter 242 of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is known as... Wait, what is it actually known as? I have no idea. I can't see it. so that was on me. We're going to figure out what it's known as in a second. But this chapter... You ever felt like you've been reading a fever dream? This felt like reading a fever dream, with like some super dark implications behind it. But I suppose all fever dreams have some super dark implications behind it. But we have quite a hefty chunk to talk about in a couple of different ways. So let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Editing me. 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? I'm the Pencil here. Fun fact, I have it on me. I keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, you fan artists work fast. Fast. Very, very fast. Tell me, why not 5 minutes? I kid. But like, why not 5 minutes after Nurse Kenny dropped? I saw some of the most detailed, immaculate, unbelievably scrumdiddlyumptious fan art this side of the Mississippi. It wasn't low quality either. Like, here's the thing, right? I would not be too shocked about if someone just like, I don't know, like got a random Nurse PNG and drew stitches on it. No, it was good. And that scares me. How ready were y'all? Why did I wake up to that the next morning? But regardless, this chapter, I think reading a fever dream is just it. Reading a fever dream is just it. I'm super interested to see where we're going to go from here. Like, I'm not saying we've 100% lost the plot. I don't think Gege can immediately, like, I don't think it's impossible for Gege to immediately just, like, and slice the funny tone right on out of the narrative and we're right back to serious stuff. Like, this battle never happened. Like, I don't think it's impossible. You can even see that Kenny tries to bring back the plot super early on in this chapter. I think he heard all the complaints about 240, 241, maybe in a bit of 239. So, like, I think Kenny knew that the plot was supposed to come back and was trying to fight for it. But, like, I don't know if he's strong enough, bro. Like, after witnessing this chapter, bro may not be Himothy enough. But, of course, we get this amazing special grade design. Well, admittedly not amazing. I will have to admit, I put it on probably around the mid-tier of some of Gege's designs. I think of Maharaga. I guess Maharaga's a Shikigami. I think of Untamed Rika. I think of... Sukuna doesn't count either. I think of Mahito. I think of Big Papa Jogo. I think of Hanami. I even think of Dagon before I think of this card as anything truly top tier. But, you know, special grade Rebellion Spirit. The pinnacle of Aokado. Okay, pretty design. I wonder what it would do. Notably, maybe it's just a big old brawler type. Maybe it just has some special properties behind it. Maybe this thing literally is the strongest curse in the entire series. You know, it's called the Pinnacle of Aokado. Maybe Sukuna walked through Aokado one time and then suddenly the Pinnacle of Aokado spawned in and said, no, I'm the Pinnacle of Aokado, plot twist, and was like, yeah, Sukuna, you're nothing compared to me. And bada bing, bada boom, this thing's actually stronger than 20-finger Sukuna by 1,000,000 times over. And that's why Kenny wanted to pull it out real quickly so he could just immediately slaughter all the competition. But unfortunately, as we see, Takaba versus Kenjaku, the Malevolence of a special grade goes in for the slay. Okay, my boy. You realize you feared the wrong man. Satoru Gojo. A man who was blessed with everything, but ultimately could achieve nothing. You feared Satoru Gojo for the limitless and the 6 eyes. But what you should have feared is the comedian sorcerer, Takaba. Because immediately, instantaneously, bro gets Truck-kun. Like, now, I am admittedly not that storied on anime and manga. I've read maybe like 20 in my day, total. Like, I am not the anime man, I'm not any sort of individual that has way more manga reading experience than I have. But even I, someone who typically does not consume anime, on a massive basis. I'm a very limited kind of guy. My scope's super duper narrow. Even I can recognize and respect the appearance of Truck-kun. Dog. Like, okay. I have questions. I have a couple questions. Number one, is this truck one of the fastest things in the series? Because realize, unless like reality literally shifted like that, like literally Kenjaku went to blink, and then the second he opened his eyes, he was getting by Truck-kun. Realize Kenny was looking at Takaba at the end of 241. He was staring him dead in the face. And Takaba still managed to tag Kenny with this truck. And Kenny's no slouch speed-wise. Remember, Yuki landed one clean hit on Kenny. And that's when Kenny was caught off guard and thought he could just block it. Yuki Tsukumo, a special grade. 1 of 4. She landed a clean hit on Kenny once. But Truck-kun, almighty Truck-kun, it slammed Kenny. Like, I'm not saying that Truck-kun is faster than Cursed in that way, but I'm also not saying that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm also not saying that this may as well be a better variation of Kashimo's Cursed technique, because instead of, like, spawning a body that will immediately break down due to turning into electricity, you just get a whole truck. I'm not saying that Phantom Beast Amber is fodder compared to Truck-kun, but I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Infinity, the Limitless, the Six Eyes, red, blue, purple, teleportation, all that. I'm not saying that it's an unfair comparison. I'm not saying that it's unfair at all. But I'm also not going to say those techniques are inherently better than the almighty Truck-kun. Like, look at this Curse Spirit. It was the pinnacle of Aokado, superior to Ryomen Sukuna, superior to Meliodas from Seven Deadly Sins, superior to True Form Spoiler from Monkey, superior to what's that one guy from Girl? Anti-Spiral. Like, it's the mightiest, it's the pinnacle of Aokado. And see, Aokado exists in the real world, and Aokado being mentioned in Jujutsu Kaisen, meaning Jujutsu Kaisen transcends fiction in the real world. And you see, if you go real hard about it, you gotta backtrace it to Superman, Cosmic Armor Superman from the story arc, and you see, since he could only see in our dimension and could feel us reading the comics, and JJK mentions the pinnacle of Aokado, and Aokado is a real life place, and that gets referenced back in Jujutsu Kaisen, then Jujutsu Kaisen scales a tier above our real reality and is in an entirely separate tier than that, and thusly the pinnacle of Aokado getting one shot by Truck-kun automatically makes it so that the pinnacle of Aokado scales above Cosmic Armor Superman, who is already a lightwork outerversal being. And of course, you know, you have nearly boundless creatures in all of fiction within the rest of our reality, and the pinnacle of Aokado transcends that, and Truck-kun still managed to one-shot it. Thusly, using my expert scalar brain, Truck-kun being able to one-shot the pinnacle of Aokado and do damage to Kenny, who scales relative to the pinnacle of Aokado, since the pinnacle of Aokado was taken down by Kenny, means Truck-kun is boundless, boundless, plus. Squared to the power of 4, carry the 1. There we go. Perfect mathematics. Absolutely scrumdiddlyumptious perfect mathematics. Do you feel the insanity? Can you tell that it's gotten me too? I'm losing it. If I haven't already lost it. Help. But actually, you see that Truck-kun is not an autonomous creature, and while the pinnacle of Aokado, which scales above all of fiction, is, you know, absolutely annihilated, Kenny's not. And we see that a certain fellow from inside the truck, I wonder who it could be, says, "Hey, you all right there? Jumping out in the middle of the road isn't safe. Like, that ain't safe, boy." Now, admittedly, I do have to agree with the truck driver here. Naturally, if I were to be, I don't know, standing in the middle of the street and I saw a truck barreling towards me, technically you could argue the onus is on the truck to try and slow down as to not hit me. But as you can clearly see, Kenjaku and the Pinnacle of Aokado were nowhere near a crosswalk, and thusly, in terms of liability, legally speaking, Kenny is liable. Thusly, I'm gonna have to side with the truck driver here. It really isn't safe. And thusly, I think we should acquit him and honestly give him all the money and let me stop. No. Okay, locking back into serious pencil for a little bit. Especially with the context of this chapter, I am super unsure how much of any of this is actually Kenjaku. I have no idea how much is even remotely real Kenjaku. And like how much of this actually, like, well, to be fair, we know he's accumulating damage. So these things are hurting Kenny. Kenny got slammed by Truck Kun. I want you to think about that. The only things that have actively hurt Kenny in the entire series was a point blank, piercing blood to the dome, and Yuki's full power, fresh out the clip, off guard Star Rage punch to his face through his arms. Those are the only things that ever hurt Kenny. Truck Kun's now on that list. I want you to think about it. He literally has... Truck Kun has Kenny shaking and twitching on the ground and knocked his cowlick out of place. Dog. I'm not saying that Takaba could beat this silly little fella right here, but I'm also not saying that, dog. Because, like, as you'll see the further and further we get into the chapter, I'm not entirely sure Sukuna could execute him. I'm really not sure, especially considering what Kenny resorts to. Though admittedly, there are some weird things. There've been some arguments flying around ever since the spoilers came out and certain things. There's a bunch of little funny stuff to talk about. But with that being the case, we see that Kenjaku decides that forget about it. If they ain't gonna come help me, I'll help myself. And when we see Kenny roll up, and admittedly kind of an underrated fit for Kenny. I talked about this in the live reaction, which you can check out over on Patreon for as low as $1 a month, or become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month. In order to check out the live reaction, it is about a solid 30 juicy minutes. So if you want more extra pencil content, that is specifically a live reaction to this chapter, go check that out. But with that being the case, Kenny in the police fit, I'm not saying it goes crazy, but I'm also not saying it doesn't. Like, I don't know. Something about Kenny, like, it with the fit, it works so well. It has the same, like, baggy style that Suguru's old fits have. Well, yeah, I think, now I think about it, Suguru had a not baggy fit. Like, all of the loose kind of attire on Kenny, he really makes it work. And I like it. I like how the little details there that you can still see the stitches. Like, I thought maybe this was a art mistake by Gay where he forgot to draw the stitches, but no, he's very purposeful. He draws it every single time. I guess this doesn't really count, but you can still see the stitches there. So Police Kenny, I ain't gonna lie to you, it's kind of heat. But of course, Police Kenny, like you said, well, he's not gonna let this slide. He's 100% held accountable, so he's coming to hold Takaba accountable. He's like, now let's see here, mister. Have you been in a little bit of that bottle tonight? Why do you say we take a little breathalyzer test? Go ahead and give me a nice big old huff into this bag right here. Now, here begins the questions. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe this is the first time Kenjaku... That's a lie. Kenjaku spawned a couple of human beings in this world. This is the first time Takaba spawned other people. Like actual sentient creatures. They're presumably sentient. They're human shaped. And one of them is talking into a walkie-talkie. So my question is this the Visionary? Are those people real? Do they exist? Does Takaba kind of pull a Wanda from WandaVision and just trap people in this little game? We know he does. Low-key, Takaba kind of is Wanda Maximoff, at least from the MCU. I'd have to double-check the comics. I haven't read a lot of Wanda comics in like years. I think, ironically enough, when WandaVision first came out is when I read a bunch of those comics. So I was like, oh, let me catch up and compare lore to lore. But, like, we know Kenny doesn't have any real free will. At least not when he's playing Takaba's games, at least maybe until the very end and in short little spurts. He has a hint, a whiff, a taste of free will. But like, right here, right now, this fella right here, does he have a family? Does he have a wife he goes home to or a husband he goes home to every day? Does he exist beyond the small confines of this little imaginary world? What is this? Who is that? Does he have rights? When Takaba makes him disappear in a matter of 3 panels, am I supposed to simply laugh off the fact that Takaba spawned in another human being only to delete them as fast as they were born? Or am I supposed to be concerned about the existential crisis of a man that only existed for a bit and then proceeded to perish for it? You know what I'm saying? Like, we always wonder on occasion, like, well, what are we? Are we truly real? In the grand scheme of the infinite cosmos, we might as well be no more than this man, right? One who only exists for, I believe about literally just this panel. Just this panel. This man does not exist any more than that. So, in the grand scheme of the infinite cosmos, say we all live to 130 because we're all healthy, good beings. Even then, in the grand scheme of the universe, we would have been a blip of a blip on a blip around a blip of this great little thing we call creation. So my question is, from me to you, does this man have rights? Does he have a family? Does he have a mortgage to pay? Does he have concerns about the job he has? Is he worried for the safety of the pinnacle of Aokado, the being who transcends fiction? Let me know. Because if he does, it is very, very haunting that Takaba just deletes them. Like being real. I don't know, because that always wondered. Like, it's one of the big, well, I've mentioned this before about clothes, but just in general, like, I wouldn't like creating people. Like, say, hypothetically, I could manifest things with my imagination, per se. Like, let's say I had the reality stone or something. I wouldn't want to make people, because that would, like, haunt me. Because, like, am I responsible for, are you my kid now? Like, if I were to make somebody, like, obviously not actually make somebody, that's different. I do want to make a couple, the little pencil juniors will be fine. Little pencil pushers. But, like, if I just had the ability to produce people, just by the thought, like Grammy does with the visionary, like Takaba does with his ability with the comedian. Would I want to do that? Would you want to do that? Would you want to make people? And not in that way, like make people, like, would you feel responsible? Would you feel sad if you, like, accidentally despawn them, like you stop focusing on them long enough and they just, because, like, I know me, my attention span is shorter than a gerbil's tied to a goldfish on fire. Thusly, I don't really have an attention span. So, like, I would likely forget they exist, and then they would cease to be in front of my eyes. I feel guilty. I don't know. But I guess maybe this isn't real. Maybe none of this matters. Especially considering Takaba apparently is making simulations or situations. It's all for the bit, right? So I guess their existence doesn't matter. The existential crisis of their one-panel existence, where we'll never see them again, is irrelevant. But I don't know, it just kicks into me. Especially considering what's revealed about Takaba's technique later, and how he kind of just writes over free will. I don't know. It kind of tickles me in the wrong spot. But speaking of tickle me at all in the right spot, we do get to see that Kenny pulls out a cool thing. Now, admittedly, I have never taken a breathalyzer test. I don't plan to take a breathalyzer test anytime soon. And I get this is definitely some sort of joke, but is it anything like this? Is it even, like, is there even a modicum, a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of any sort of truth to this? Do you have to give a big old puff into a bag of any kind? I have no idea, and I think that concerns me more. Like, the references I get, funny, right? There's a reference at the bottom of this very page that we're on that, it got a good old chuckle out of me. But, like, how much? Because, all fiction, every joke is based somewhat on reality. That's kind of life in of itself. Everything typically has a trace back, even if it's not like a physical real trace back. Like, obviously people didn't just see Superman one day. I was like, oh, I gotta write down about that. But, like, everything you can trace back to some sort of aspect. So, like, what is it? Is this just a breathalyzer test in the sense that you huff into something? Or is there actually some sort of thing that may have to do with blowing hot breath through a plastic straw? I have no idea. Maybe I'm just going insane. It's not a maybe. But with that being the case, we see that Kenjaku gives him the ultimatum. If the goldfish inside ends up being fried, we'll have to take you downtown here, Bucko, and you wouldn't like what our boys do to them downtown. Let's just say the soap is glued to their hands now. It don't help them, though. Big Chucky. Oh, he likes them when they're fine. Okay, let me stop. But with that being the case, we see Takaba once again. I don't know, because here's the thing: Takaba is a professional comedian. I am not. I wouldn't even consider myself a comedian, but I do try to make jokes, not just in videos, but like with my friends and stuff like that. So, like, how does this work in his head? Because he's smoothly transitioning from spot to spot to spot. Unlike Kenjaku, who occasionally gets caught up in a hitch, everything seems to be automatic flowing. Even things that seemingly do not work for Takaba at first due to Kenny's rebellion, Kenny's trying to assert his free will, they end up working for Takaba. So, like, is this what it's like for all my comedians out there? I know there's some of you. I have just so many people in the comment section. That makes me so happy because I get to see so many different perspectives. For all my comedians out there, aspiring, professional, or even just remotely interested in the topic, how do you sequence your jokes? How do you? Because, like, my humor, breaking down the pencil humor, if it even can count as humor, because I'll be real, it kind of doesn't. But breaking down my style of, like, continuous comedy, what I try to do is I try to make it appropriate to the situation, but just offlandish enough that will catch you off guard enough that you may let out a nervous chuckle. That's the drastic end goal. Essentially, I try to be just off-brand enough that your brain is like, wait a minute. I'm not sure whether to process this as shock or humor, but we'll go with the latter. That's my goal. But, like, for y'all, how do you do it? Let me know. Because we see that Takaba immediately transitions from getting a breathalyzer, the whole world goes dark. He creates a black hole and proceeds to spawn an entirely separate world. And notably, we see that this fish that was maybe about the size of, I don't know, maybe Kenny's thumb on a good day, is now a whole big old I don't even think it's the same species. Now, admittedly, you boys not a taxonomist. I have no idea. I cannot tell you a salmon from a carp to save my life. Okay, that's a lie. I eat salmon all the time, so I think I know what a salmon looks like. I think. But literally, I don't know too much about fish, but I don't think those two are the same fish. Just a hunch. Or, that is the same fish, and Takaba and Kenny are shrunk down. Or the fish got bigger. I think the former's funnier, and considering it's Takaba, I'm going to go with the former. And we see that Dr. Takaba says, we need the trash cart. We need the crash cart. The crash cart? I swear I can read. We need the crash cart. Stat. Mr. Goldfish, can you hear me? You're at the hospital. See, I wanna say this is Kenjaku playing along, but I know he doesn't have free will right now. He does, and we're gonna have a whole conversation about free will in a little bit. But I know he doesn't have free will right now. That's not Kenny. Legally speaking, that isn't Kenny. That is anything but Kenny. That is Kenny, whose mind has been literally like it's like invaded by the funny fingers of Takaba, and his big old giga brain is being massaged to say certain things. And that's honestly terrifying. Like, I don't know. I get why it had to be this way, because, like, Kenny's a silly, goofy guy. Don't get me wrong. A lot of JJK villains, from your Sukunas to your Mahitos to your Kenjakus especially, they're all some silly, goofy fellas. But, like, even Kenny's not this silly, goofy. So I get why. I completely understand why Gege went down this route of being like, yeah, okay, let's just make it so that Takaba mind controls people. But, dog, I do kind of wish there was just extra characterization for Kenny. Like, ultimately, he's so bored. He's so sick and tired of the regular mundane existence of the day-to-day that he's like, fine, I'll play along in this stupid comedy game, because why not? And we see that I don't I don't know. Once again, I should have Googled. I'm whipping out the Googler. I'm going to see if this is a Final Fantasy reference. I think it is. I'm not sure. Come to me, O final of the fantasies. FFX2. Final Fantasy X-2. It is a thing. It is Final Fantasy. And that's where that's where they're from. Oh. Fun fact, I haven't played a single Final Fantasy game in my life. Not a singular one. Your boy the final was never my fantasy. But is that a reference to something in game? X2? Final Fantasy X2? That's where the Gullwings are from. From Kingdom Hearts 2. And only Kingdom Hearts 2. Because Final Fantasy doesn't actually exist. I kid. I literally own the remake. I haven't played it though. I own the remake physically because I bought it for like $20. And I own the remake on my PlayStation Plus account because it literally became free for me to get like a month after I purchased it physically. It causes me so much imaginable agony. Unimaginable agony to this day. My 20 beans could have been saved. But with that being the case, X2. I wonder if that's a reference to something else though. My brain saw FF and X2 and like the neurons fired and was like, that's a Final Fantasy reference. But someone, feel free to correct me if that's not a Final Fantasy reference. And someone explained the first half of the reference. Comma score, FX2. I have no idea what the full context of that is. Though I do get this next reference. Do I have anything to prove that I'm a Pokemon fan? Where are you, Pikachu? I know you exist within this reality. I know you're somewhere. You do exist. I know you're canon. Do I not have a Pokemon? Maybe I have Bakugan. I have more Bakugan pop figures than I do Pokemon pop figures. Maybe I am a fraud. Do I seriously have no Pokemon I cannot? I do have some Pokemon iconography. I have a whole little section of Pokemon iconography in my room. I may have a problem. I don't have much of a problem anymore, mainly because I keep telling myself, you're not going to buy another thing. You're not going to buy another Elite Trainer box. You're just going to get booster boxes, but I can't afford booster boxes. So that'll be something down the line. But yeah, I get the defibrillator. I choose you. And once again, I do kind of wish this was Kenny autonomously and not Takaba force-feeding Kenjaku 90s references. Because, can you imagine how funny it would be if Kenjaku just knew what Pokemon... He probably does, right? Because he's possessing Suguru Geto. And Suguru Geto was definitely in the generation where Pokemon was a thing. Before he became a famous sorcerer, he definitely... he whipped out the Game Boy here or there. He had Ruby and Sapphire. But, dog... What? Can you imagine if this was actually just part of Kenny's character? He just actually knew what Pokemon was. He actually watched the anime. For this, well, to be fair, this one seems to be Takaba specific. But, even just the I Choose You reference would add so much to Kenny's character. Because it'd be Kenny got so bored that he was actually consistently consuming media over the multi-millennia he's been alive. It would be funny. It would be very funny. But that's not the case, as we soon see. And we see that with the defibrillator, Kenny hits him with the bah, and just immediately shocks him. And we get, obviously, Takaba's blasting off again! And while that joke has taken an increasingly down atrocious interpretation as the years go on, with all the people very much wanting to blast in accordance with Pokemon. With that being the case, also a W fit for... I don't know what it is with Geto's body and Kenny. He kind of rocks every single fit. I don't know what it is about it. And obviously your boy's not a drip lord. Anywhere near. But I ain't gonna lie. Just the black V-neck and the doctor's coat is kind of great. Bro's kind of fitted with the police fit, and we're gonna hop into the other main fit that had the entire internet losing their good mind. Well, not the entire internet, but a good chunk of the JJK fandom frothing and foaming at the mouth. I heard Jin Itadori scratching at his coffin, and I saw Satoru Gojo's upper half start to levitate again from what happens next. But we see that, unfortunately, how would I didn't even notice this in the live reaction. Where did the fish's meat go? Oh, that sounds so wrong. That doesn't. Why is the fish now just a skeleton? And why are the wires now inside its eyeball? What is happening? What is I need to, okay, I do not need whatever Gege was on when he was writing this chapter, because it is very likely lethal. But still, what was he cooking? Where is this coming from? Was he just waiting? Is this what JJK was actually building to? Is this actually the final battle? Are we just not going to see Sukuna versus Itadori and Higuruma? Because is this what we were... I feel insane. I feel like I'm going to keep rereading this chapter and keep finding new things in it. But dog, what? Did they eat it? Because I know Takaba got reduced to a skeleton here, but the fish was fully flesh. It was still there. It's not a goldfish, don't get me wrong, but what? And we see that Kenny... Once again, I can't say Kenny, because this isn't Kenny. It's Kenny's body, which is so... It's still so haunting, bro. I don't know. I'll talk about the whole mind control and free will aspect in a bit. But he literally slams his hands out on the bed like, no, we were too late. We didn't make it in time. And we see Takaba comfort Kenny by saying, modern medicine. Just cut it. Big rough stuff. I don't know. This is such a this is a dynamic. Admittedly, it's not genuine on Kenny's part. He's literally being forced to do this. But honestly, I would watch this comedy duo. I would. There's no way I wouldn't. It seems so. I can imagine the kind of hijinks they'd get up to. Wait till Takaba gets that dark humor patch. But with that being the case, we see Takaba, after the loss of Mr. Fishy, says something that admittedly I've heard before. Now I'm real depressed. Please, gather a ton of nurses who are all madly in love with me. Now, Takaba, I get it, broski. If I had to take a guess, but then again, I don't know, Takaba was pretty well built. Presumably, he should be doing it. But Takaba, I assume you weren't too well off with the ladies' movement. Or, he says nurses. They're male nurses. You weren't too well off with the people in general, broski. It didn't seem like you were the most popular of dudes. You weren't the most popular fella this side of the Mississippi. But Bucko, really? This is what we're opening with? I'm real depressed. Gather a bunch of nurses who are in love. Like, what is these? Not even a bunch, a ton. I'm not sure what a ton is to you, but usually that's at least more than 3. Talk about, can you handle all that, bro? Is you able to handle all that? But speaking of handling all that, dog, y'all work so fast. Y'all work way too fast. I hit myself in the head. Y'all work way too fast. The nurse Kenny memes, there aren't even memes, it's just artwork. And the thing is, I can't even be mad because it's all quality. I've not seen a single bad one yet, and it's obviously, circulation. What is more popular is going to get shared more, but I've seen at least 20. The day it came out, we are now a few days in, I've seen like 78. May or may not have been counting. Dog. And tell me why. Tell me why, once again, Kenny's low-key kind of rock. I know Kenny was a mother. Kenny mothered harder than literally anyone else in the cast. Everyone always talks about how Ghetto ended up mothering 2 whole children. But no. Like, Kenny, mothered. Like, out of all the main cast, I think he's the only female character. Yes, he's the only female character who we've actively seen mothered and get a name. Gojo doesn't have a mom. Itadori had a mom, but that's Kenny. We don't know Nobara had a grandma, but that's not mothering, that's grandmothering. Mama Guro doesn't even have a name, that's why we call her Mama Guro. Gojo doesn't have a mom. We don't even know if Gojo has a family. That bro is the Gojo clan. Maki has a mom. Darn it, Maki, you got a mom. But she didn't mother that hard either. So, like, she may have made 2. But that was a 2-for-1 special. That doesn't count. Kenny mothered. Kenny mothered, and maybe that's why he's rocking the nurse fit so well. But his dog. And I like how Kenny's so quickly about the business, just immediately going like, oh, well, Fishy's gone. And I love how Kenny's like, respect for the other nurse. He's like, I won't be doing that. A little Fishy has reached the pearly gates, huh? And we see Takaba going, didn't you hear me say I'm depressed? Now, being real with you, putting away all the different pretenses and even the elevated nature of my voice, let me level with you real quick. In fact, let me look you dead in the eyes. Don't believe that another person can fill whatever void that exists in your heart. Don't believe an abundance of people can fill the void that exists in your heart. Humans are inherently social creatures, and I understand that fact, and I know that the importance of connection is one of the most fundamental things to human beings as a whole. Our fundamental existences are tied and even built upon the connections that we have with others, from our ability to speak, our ability to understand, our ability to recognize the world around us. Very specifically comes from those interpersonal connections. But being real with you, don't be like Takaba here. Don't seek affection or romance or even kinship simply to fill a void that exists within you. You need to be able to look inside yourself and understand that you do matter, no matter what. You exist, and that alone is good enough, and will always be better than those who do not exist. And lastly, take pride, because you are strong. Back to the memes, though. With that being the case, we do get to see that with Takaba trying to beat the nurses out of Kenny. He goes in with the stethoscope, and honestly, look, he starts hitting the moves. Like, I don't know why bro is like that, but Kenny just beats it all away with the clipboard, which is crazy. Once again, Kenny rocking the outfit entirely, using that. And I love how Kenny's just. It's not, but once again, I keep saying I love how Kenny's playing along, but it's not Kenny, bro. It's Takaba's perception of it. Could be anyone in this role. It could be you. It could be me. It could be that guy behind you. It could be anyone that could be in this exact same role that Kenny is. And ultimately, it wouldn't matter. Because they'd all, imagine yourself, well, at like a 0.5% of it. I know there's one female in the comments. I know there's one woman in the comments. So imagine a gender bent version of you swatting away Takaba. That'd be you. For everyone else, for literally everyone else, that would be you. You would be gender bent in a nurse outfit, being told to get nurses for Takaba, if you were in that scenario. And you would have no control of your free will or autonomy. So it's impressive that you're able to react to Takaba, but it really isn't you. Think about that. Would that be the case? We see that Takaba, so down atrocious, says, "What the heck is the matter with you? Is that how you treat someone in the pits of despair? Well, you don't look very depressed to me." Now, putting on the serious again. It's okay to be down bad. It is almost natural to be down bad. No matter who you are, no matter what background you come from, it's always okay to be down bad. However, I'll level with you real quick. Never allow yourself to be so down bad that your eyes are bulging out of their sockets, you're dripping massive amounts of sweat, a vein is popping out of your forehead, and you're nearly drooling as you spit everywhere. You do not want to be that down bad. Find something else. You have more things to live for than being down atrocious. Do not let a lack of anything allow you to become this down atrocious. Trust me, it's a path you do not want to walk down, for I have seen it, and has led to the darkest pits of despair that I've ever seen in a man, and a woman, and everyone. I've seen a lot of down bad people, but with that being the case, we see that Takaba decides, fine, if you won't get me the big, I'm not sure what I can say. There are jokes at what to say. You know, I do say the word, but I never say it very specifically in that context. So I'm going to keep avoiding. I'm going to keep dancing around it. See, no word rhymes with booty. But with that being the case, we see that Takaba decides that they're going to sell this with some good old-fashioned rock, paper, scissors, some good old Jajanken. And now, admittedly, there's probably a reference here that I just don't get. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't get Bandit Keith. And that's a very specific reference from Yu-Gi-Oh! I do believe. Didn't get that. So I probably don't get this. But they're now back in their base outfits. And here's the thing, right? I don't... What is this sentence? Because we see that Takaba says, fine, we'll sell this fair and square with rock, paper, scissors. And we see Kenny say, Fine by me. If I win, I'll have them start making pop rocks again. Who's them? Are pop rocks no longer being made? I do it for science. Are pop rocks still being made? Pop rocks were briefly discontinued in the mid-90s, rising from the rumored favorite flame just a few years ago. Pop rocks can be a natural brand full of energy. Huh! So pop rocks are a thing, but they were discontinued in the mid-1980s. Or briefly. So maybe Kenny's referring to that? Interesting. I wasn't actually expecting to find that. History lesson. So in the mid-1980s, pop rocks were canceled. So I guess that implies the time period that they're in this point. Is Takaba bending reality where top rocks. There's a joke in there, but I won't make it. But did Takaba send them back in time to another point in reality? I don't know. But we do get to see that they transfer back to their base fits. And they go, rock, rock, rock. Paper, paper, paper. Scissors, scissors, scissors. And I don't know, they do their little dancey dance. They hit the, yeah! Rock, rock, paper, paper, scissors, scissors, rock, paper, scissors, shoot! And they go digging for gold in each other's minds. And I cannot I've never actually seen that, like in media or in real. How nettled would you be if someone out of nowhere just took their two, like, index and middle finger? Is that even index and middle? I can't tell. That's Kenny's left. So yeah, it's index and middle. How nettled would you be if someone just came up to you and just went like straight, pierce straight, like they scrape your nostril? How would you feel about that? What would you do in that scenario? What is your response? What is your immediate course of action after that? Me personally, I'm not a violent individual, but I would be quite confused. And the first call would be the police. But then again, Kenny could show up. And I don't think I want Kenny to show up. But with that being the case, we do get to see that Kenjaku realizes that ultimately, this is real Kenjaku. Like I said, you get little glimpses of real Kenjaku in this entire encounter. We see that real Kenjaku says, this technique, this is far from merely... Do I give him the Vexen voice? I do have a voice for Kenjaku, but I'm a scientist, yeah? Experiments are what I do, yes. This technique, it's far from merely the embodiment, an enforcement of the sorcerer's imagination. Even my mind is being taken in and forced to respond. Soul resonance, so to speak. Once again, I don't think that's real Kenny, because that's a Soul Eater reference. And also a spoiler reference. So, like, is that a thing? But then again, was that a thing in JJK before? I forget. We've had a whole bunch of Soul stuff. I don't think we ever had Soul Resonance before. So is that a Soul Eater reference because Kenjaku knows what Soul Eater is? Or is that a Soul Eater reference because Takaba knows what Soul Eater is and he's referencing it through Kenjaku's mind? But then again, Kenjaku's not even speaking. That's his mind. I don't know. Though admittedly, that's the terrifying part. This is let's have a little free will discussion, folks. Do you believe free will exists? Just in general. Or do you think everything is a result of cause and effect? Because if you believe everything's a result of cause and effect, free will can't really exist if you go with absolute cause and effect. Or the idea that there is no such thing as an alternate choice. Like choice is an illusion. I tell you to walk down two separate paths, but in the end, they both lead to a dead end. Like, no matter what, you were going to walk down and meet the dead end somehow. I just gave you the false idea that there may have been something on the other side. You had to pick one. How do you feel about that? I like to imagine that there is free will. I like to imagine that I was not digi-destined, if you will, to be here recording and losing my absolute mind reading chapter 242 Jujutsu Kaisen. But I suppose if you were to trace back every one of my individual actions that I've reached up to this point, all the way from my birth, maybe I was digi-destined to be here. Maybe I actually am the Digimon, digital monsters. We are going to be the champions. But hypothetically, right? Let's not even say that free will may not exist due to the ever-present nature of cause and effect and the fact that we truly are merely just a combination of atoms bumping up against other atoms until, every single atom runs out of energy in the heat death of the universe in a couple billion years. Forget all that. How do y'all feel about mind control? How do y'all feel about having no autonomy? How would you feel if another human being were just able to be like, hey, yeah, you bucko with your free-thinking mind and independent thought, I ain't really rock on that, bucko. You know what? Slide that right here. And they actually just took your free will away. How would you feel about that? I wouldn't like it. I can tell you I wouldn't like it, but that's just me though. So it is actually kind of haunting that Takaba, this little silly little guy right here. Like, obviously this chapter is not meant to be taken all too seriously, I don't think. But as a guy who tends to overanalyze and think about things a whole bunch, like the idea that Kenjaku, arguably, I'd say the strongest willed and the most intelligent, bar for bar, wisdom for wisdom, if we're going by sheer wisdom points, the smartest and most intelligent and wisest and likely most strong-willed character in the entire series is just a Takaba victim feels wrong. The fact that even Kenjaku has no autonomy makes me believe that Sukuna would be a victim. Satoru would be a victim. Every other character in the series would be a victim. I don't even know how you beat Takaba. The only characters that I could see hypothetically beating Takaba is anyone who can just turn off abilities. Like a Zeldrish from Seven Deadly Sins before the end of series nerf. Maybe, because, he would have, obviously, the Demon King's power. The Demon King's power would turn off the comedian. What if Takaba found it funny if it didn't? I don't know. So, I have no idea, but the idea that Takaba is not only able to create life, this is just a random dude again, not only is the idea that Takaba can literally create and bend reality to his very will, but also you don't even have a choice in the matter. You're just your brain, your autonomy, your free will, all that. Nope, just might as well just slurp it all out with a straw and spit it on the ground. You don't actually have any of that. You are now Takaba. You will be Takaba. You will love Takaba. And you will praise Takaba with big... Let me stop. I don't know, it's crazy to me. But we do see there now at a game show, and this now poor other person, who has a family, a mortgage, a whole entire background. He just popped into existence, and he's not going to last more than 2 pages. But we see that Takaba, once again, sticking to his evolved variation of humor, he's like, I'm not gonna do anything lame, like getting all the quiz show answers wrong on purpose. You got that? And we see that Kenjaku declares, nor am I, Riku. I've gathered so much data from our battle, Riku. I'll give Kenjaku this voice for this chapter. I'm gonna switch back to the regular Kenjaku voice after this, though. Nor am I, Riku. I'm no fan of that either. Fools acting like fools, that is. That's not even a Vexen voice. That's like Vexen fused with that character's name who I can't remember. Every single time I try to remember that character's name, I cannot remember it. That's like Vexen's inflections fused with that character. It is impossible. One person in the comments told me I sounded like Xemnas, and it made my week. Because I have no idea how I remotely sound like him. Even when I try to do a Xemnas, I cannot hit Xemnas. No, what is Xemnas' voice actor's name? I'm sorry, I know I'm going on so many tangents, but this chapter has just driven me actually insane. What is Xemnas' voice actor's name? Please, work with me. Xemnas Sora. Can you trust Riku? I can't do it. He's a fantastic voice actor. Hold on, let me see. Paul St. Peter. Golly, that man, butter for a voice, bro. Probably my favorite voice in I really like Leonard Nimoy as Xehanort, though. I really like Leonard Nimoy. And honestly, Haley Joel Osment does a fantastic job as Roxas. Sorry, back to the actual chapter. We do get to see that, once again, is this Kenjaku? Is this actually Kenjaku? It sounds like Kenjaku. It seems close enough. It seems Kenjaku adjacent. But is this actually Kenjaku? Or is this Takaba manipulating Kenjaku's mind in order to say this? I don't know. And we see that the game show host, who will cease to exist in a matter of moments, asks, Who was the historical figure who coined the well-known phrase such as, it might be interesting, it might not, who can say? And we see Kenny, he, I can't get a good smack. He says, Takasugi Shinsaku. Close, but no cigar. I have no idea who that is. I have no idea who said that phrase. And no, I will not be Googling it. But we do get to see that Kenjaku is shocked. And Takaba is like, you idiot. I thought we had a promise. And I assume that's just the promise to not get any of the answers wrong on purpose. But I assume, once again, this is Takaba making Kenny get the answer wrong on purpose. And we see that the game show host asks, in the field of particle and nuclear... I'm going to give him this voice, because once again, I'm having fun. In the field of particle and nuclear physics, what is the term for the elemental particle that is held together by a strong interaction? And Takaba naturally asks, who the heck would know that? And Kenny answers, a hadron. He better than me. I would have literally said an atom. But would that be the case? As a guy who wanted to be an astrophysicist when he was younger, your boy did not pay enough attention in astrophysics or just physics in general. But we see that, I'm not sure if this is Takaba or the game show host saying, hey, you're buzzing in early. But we see that Kenjaku, once again, we know Kenjaku's a silly fella. He's a silly dude. We see this in 240. But like, is this really Kenjaku or is this Takaba? And we see that he asks, what are you? What are you? The son of an ophthalmologist? What is that? Okay, I keep pulling out the Googler because they keep pulling out words I don't know. I'm sorry. And I think on occasion I have a relatively decent lexicon myself. I know I occasionally bamboozle my friends with my word of the day. But like, I don't know. Sometimes I'll be reading stuff and I'm like, darn, maybe I should read more books. Is it not even a word? Is it just not even a word? Oh, ew. Is off tall? What does that mean? Ocular monology? A one-mologist? What is a mologist? Mologist. Yeah, I have no idea. Is that even a thing? I'm just confused. But we see that Takaba apparently, I guess that's an eyesight joke, like optical. Please don't tell me that. Does that just say optical? No, that's OPHTHAL. At least the way I'm reading it. But then again, I am not literate, so I have no idea what that means. Maybe it has something to do with like bad. It's a bad eyesight joke, but But how's that even correlate to the? I'm so confused. But we do get to see. Okay, let me Google this. I have no idea. He says, oh no, did you perish? No, I'm lost in darkness. Darkness. It smells like darkness. Oh, I guess I'm not looking that up. Whoops. I guess we'll never know whatever that reference is supposed to be. But shock horror, I'm going to figure it out. Please. Jeez, the percentage of my Googler is hopping all over the place too. Everything is breaking. Everything is breaking and freaking out because even it doesn't like that I'm reacting to this chapter or reviewing this chapter. But let me see. Google Yoshiharu. I swear if this is something creepy. I swear. Yoshiharu Suge eyes. Yoshiharu Suge eyes. Oh gosh, darn it. It's creepy. Oh, I'm not even looking that hard at that. Man, now I'm going to have nightmares. But let's see. Question 2. Which is the harder to speak to others about? Now, this one's kind of weird. Writing your own university recommendation letter, being formally endorsed by a university. Now, I get that writing a university recommendation letter is hard to do. It's difficult. But, actually, oh, wait a minute. I didn't think about this. I may have interpreted it wrong during the review. Writing your own recommendation letter? Like, you're recommending yourself. Like, usually you ask other people for recommendation letters. Writing your own recommendation letter, I guess you kind of have to, like, gas yourself up. But then again, you do that regularly. So I do think the more normal thing here is writing your own recommendation letter. That's kind of what you do whenever you do those essays to try and get into a university. Versus being formally endorsed by a university, I think that is a little bit stranger, especially if your field has nothing to do with education or anything the university is about. Like, say, hypothetically, you just saw me being endorsed by Yale. How would that make you feel? I don't know. I wouldn't know how to tell y'all if that guy with a pencil randomly got endorsed by Yale. No idea. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. Wouldn't complain. Yale hit my line. But I have no idea. I'd be just as confused as y'all. It would be pretty hard to tell you. So I have no clue. But of course, we get to see that Kenjaku and Takaba both charge for it. And they both declare, piece of cake. And the poor game show host gets absolutely wiped from existence. You literally see him fading into the background. And he says, oh, both contestants seem confident, but they don't understand how tricky this question is. What do you guys think is harder? Talking to somebody about it or being endorsed? I don't know. Let me know. However, of course, the reality shifts once again. We see someone yell, somebody help! That kitty is about to get hit by a car! I'm laughing preemptively because we see Takaba decide, no, winning the game show doesn't matter. I can save a life. And he's about to get hit by a taxi. Only Kenjaku, y'all. Kenjaku. He's likely in the thumbnail. It may just be I have no idea. I haven't made the thumbnails yet. I should have made the thumbnails before I made this. So I can reference back to it. I assume Kenjaku's in the thumbnail. If he isn't, I'm disappointed in editing me. Editing me, you do it. And the whole thumbnail may just be alternate Kenjaku. What is this? It's meow. I have to be off something right now, bro. Because we see that Kenjaku hits Takaba with the old 1-2. He kicks Takaba across the face and then immediately Wombo combos him into the car. And we see Kenjaku look shocked and bamboozled. Something's even weirder. I don't know about y'all. Something's even weirder about Cat Takaba. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Cat Kenny's gonna haunt my nightmares too. But Cat Takaba, and if for some reason I imagine that he has like the deepest meows ever. Like, have y'all seen that one video of the cat going like meow, meow? I feel like Takaba's nearly at that level. He's like meow, meow. The kitty's drowning. Once again, I don't know. I don't know what is happening, because we see that Takaba just magically created an ocean. This must be Takaba's domain expansion or something. Like, he must have a barrierless domain. That Takaba must be a walking, talking, living, breathing barrierless domain or something, because he's literally consistently changing the environment. Bro automatically made a better feat than Dagon casually, and we see that Kenny goes on a surfboard, losing his cat ears to save Kataba. But we see Kataba comes behind Kenjaku and rear ends him with with the jet ski, while he still has his cat ears. And we get right back at I feel like this is a reference to something too, but I don't get it. This is just insanity. And once again, we see Kenjaku just saying, "Oh, you've got me good," and now they start splashing each other with water. What is happening? What I must have lost my mind somewhere 15 minutes back. I'm lying. Probably about 40 minutes ago. What is happening? I love this image, though. It looks so wholesome. They're literally just two men enjoying each other's presence while soaking wet. There are some people who like it. Not some, a lot of people. But with that being the case, we see that Kenjaku is slowly losing his mind. I think once again this is Takaba manipulating him, and partial real Kenjaku, as he says, "Oh, I'm having so much fun. How many centuries has it been since my heart was let flutter like this? I'm so glad that I started this culling game." But then you see, like, the happiness behind this immediately gets undercut by the fact that Kenjaku's like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is not my point in this universe," as he immediately goes to drown Takaba. But Takaba, instead of glubbing himself into a watery end, he realizes, "Oh, wait, this water, this seawater, It isn't water. And like notably, you see Kenjaku even looking at his hands like, how did this happen? How did he suddenly just spring up all the way over there? It's Fanta. Because this isn't the real life. It's just a fantasy. I stole that from a commenter. Someone pointed that out to me. Shout outs to you. But dog, what in the world? And we see that Kenjaku brings up an interesting point. This is real Jaku again, most likely. If this goes on, I'm going to lose. For him, these are nothing but simulations, but the damage I'm taking through these situations is all too real. This is a battle that cannot be resolved with violence. Until his love of comedy is satisfied, this will never end. So, Takaba is literally breaking reality. This is real Takaba, by the way. He is fundamentally he's creating life. He's destroying life. He slayed the peak of fiction, something that transcends fiction, in the pinnacle of Aokado, and he is manipulating Kenny's mind to the point where Kenny has little to no bodily autonomy. But with that being the case, Kenny knows what he must do. He suits up. He says, in that case, and we see that they're back to basics. As Kenjaku suits up, we see Kenny ask, "You're already warmed up plenty, aren't you? Let's do this, partner." And Takaba, happy to finally have a partner, says, "Yeah." And they both walk onto the stage. The theme music blares as the stars take the stage for their final battle. What is this chapter's title? I missed it all the way back at the end. I meant to identify it, but I never did find it. Chapter 242, Idiot Survivor, Soar Ever Higher. So he keeps adding new prefixes, or new, what's the opposite of a prefix? Postfix? I have no idea. But that is the chapter. Now, if you couldn't tell by my enthusiastic covering of it, from all the memes, the different ways that it sent my mind, reaching down different parts, talking about voice actors, had me Googling weird stuff, I really, really like this chapter. What the heck? I really, really like this chapter. It is something else. It is genuinely something else. It is insanity personified. Don't get me wrong. I feel like Gege has lost what remained of their good mind, but in the best way possible. I really appreciate it. And don't get me wrong, I think there's very little to any characterization for Kenny in this chapter, but the characterization for Takaba as someone who's willing to manipulate people is actually kind of hilarious to me. So overall, extremely W chapter. If you somehow made it all the way to the end of this one, I'd actually be shocked if anyone made it all the way to the end of this one. Please leave a brain, a man, and a laugh in the comment section down below. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below. I support for as low as $1 a month. You can link exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks will include the live reaction to this very chapter. It's 30 minutes long. Please, I want to thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Takaba the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Wakana Plays and Redwolf4765. I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 patrons, Winter, Victor, Sean, Midnight Gemlord, Kevin, and Demix LND. I'd like to give another thank you to our $7 member, Autumn's Morning Lazo. I'd like to give another scrumdiddlyumptious thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha, Joaquin, and Idem Okami. I'd like to give another thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. I'd like to give one final thank you to our $25 patrons, Igneal and Calvin Elder.